Hey guys, I'm Edwin Hazard, Southeast Mobile Tech in Charleston, South Carolina. I want to show you guys how to do a compression test using a lab scope. I know a lot of you old school guys like myself, years ago, we did a compression test where we have to take the spark plugs out and do each cylinder one at a time. I want to show you guys the ATSC eScope Elite 4 from my good friends from Automotive Test Solutions. They really put some extra steroids in this scope lately, and they put a lot of neat features. Inside this scope is a relative compression test, and it's very easy to do. Relative compression test will basically give you a general idea on the condition, the mechanical condition of the engine. So I'm going to use the ATSC eScope Elite 4, and I'm also going to use from my friends at Mitchell Protoman. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to use the service information and the scope at the same time. Bear with me, guys. I'm the only one holding the camera, doing the talking and doing the testing, so this might be a little bit of a crude video, but hopefully you'll learn something from it. So this is a 2015 Chevrolet Colorado. It's got about 102,000 miles on the clock. I just want to do a relative compression test on this to see, what kind of shape the engine is in. This is a 3.6 liter V6 and automatic trans. It's a 2015, and let me show you how easy this test is to do. Okay, first I want to hook up my eScope, and I'm going to go to meter. Okay, when I go into meter, I'm going to hook my test leads. Channel 1, which is the yellow one right here, I'm going to hook to battery positive. Okay, channel 2, which is the red lead, I'm going to hook to number 1 ignition control. Just if I can get that, see right down there. Number 1 ignition control. Okay, this ignition coil has 4 wires. So if you're not sure which wires you need to is the control wire, it's very easy. Let's go take a look at our Mitchell Protoman. Open up Protoman, and I already dialed in the vehicle that I'm working on. So I want to go to, I'm going to tell you how easy this is. I'm going to go to the service manual. And then I'm going to go to wiring diagrams, system wiring diagrams, engine performance. Now, like I said, this is a 3.6. Okay, so this is the engine performance diagram on a 3.6, and all the wiring diagrams that we have here. I'm going to look through this diagram for the ignition coils. And there we go. Okay, that's the number 1 ignition coil. That's the cylinder that I'm going to set my trigger to. Okay, so easier than that, if you look at these 4 terminals or 5 terminals on this coil, 4 plus the spark plug, you don't know exactly which one is the control unless you trace each wire. And this is a really cool feature that Mitchell put in. That is awesome. So I'm going to click on the full screen. I'm going to enlarge it. I'll go over to, there's my number 1 ignition coil. Now if you see something after you click on the screen and you see something in blue, click on it. And what happens when you click on it? It brings up all these places that you can get information on this ignition coil. So what's really cool is that I want to go down to the connector. This is an LFX engine, so it's ignition coil 1 LFX. So I want to click on that. There's a picture of my connector. And there is a description of each terminal. Ignition control. Notice that is a light blue and a violet. Pin C. Okay. So that tells me right there, okay, I got to hook my number 2 scope lead up to pin C. Let's see if I can get it closer so you guys can see. I got my red number 2 scope lead through the light blue and violet wire. Okay, that is pin C. So, what's nice about the ATSC scope is when I have the wires, I have my connections made, if you see anything highlighted in red, that means you have a bad connection. So before you even continue with your connection, make sure that your scope channels that you're using are not highlighted in red. Notice I'm using channels 1 to my battery and 2 to the ignition coil. Okay? Next step, I'm going to go to the tools menu. This is from my last test, but I'm going to figure out what firing order this vehicle has. Okay, again, you can go back to the Mitchell and find out what the firing order is under engine specs. This one happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In Mitchell, it shows that the number 1 cylinder is the passenger side front, and that's where I'm connected to my number 2 scope lead. Okay. What I want to do next is I want to start test. Okay. Now it's asking me to crank the engine for 8 seconds. Got to make sure that the engine will not start, guys. So on this particular vehicle, if you hold the pedal down to the floor, that's clear flood. And I'm going to crank this thing for 8 seconds. I'm going to put the phone down and go from there. Okay, and this is what I got. If you notice, all my cylinders seem to be relatively in good shape. My number 3 cylinder looks to be a little low, but it's not that bad. And if you want to know what the efficiency is, this detailed efficiency box over here will tell you exactly what the cylinder is. Number 3, which happens to be my lowest, is at 90%. I'm not complaining about that. Next one would be number 5. Okay, this vehicle does not have a drivability problem whatsoever. So I'm looking at this compression test, and so far it looks like everything seems to be pretty decent. Now, up here, if you notice, this is when I first started. This is the inrush. As soon as I started cranking, battery voltage started building up. And I don't really see anything that looks out of whack. Now, what's nice about this scope is I can enlarge it. I can open it up using the pan, and notice everything looks pretty good. I don't see any kind of dropouts. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we said number 3 seemed to be low, but if you look at number 3 right now, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, I saved the screenshot from when we did the cranking compression, and this is part of the inrush from the cranking compression test when I first started. If you'll notice, that this voltage is getting down to probably about a little under 9.6, maybe it's around 9.5. Battery is completely charged. The reason I think I have such low voltage is that this battery is 5 years old. It's the original battery. All right, so it's probably starting to show some signs of getting worn out. But I was able to enlarge that screen at the cranking compression test screen and zoom in on the inrush of what I had here, and I could see that this compression or this voltage was a little lower than I think it should be on a battery that's in good shape. So I'm going to recommend a battery replacement, just for the simple fact it's 5 years old and it's the original battery, and I think it should be replaced, if nothing else, as a maintenance standpoint. So anyways, very nice feature from Automotive Test Solutions on their e-scope. This thing, guys, the scope is getting more powerful every time they put out a new release. A lot of great features. The guys at Automotive Test Solutions are really knocking it out of the park with this. I can't say enough about this scope, and the support that is behind this scope is phenomenal. You can get this software online at the automotivetestsolutions.com site. It's a free download. You can put it in demo mode, and you guys can sit there in a chair, play, and take a good look at what this thing has to offer. It's really quite the tool. Also, I want to kudos to Mitchell Protoman. This feature you guys put in the wiring diagrams is awesome. You saw how fast it took me just to find out exactly what connector I needed to tap into, what terminal in that connector I needed to tap into for my ignition control. So it was really easy. So these guys did a great job with this too. Anyways, so I hope you guys got something out of this. I apologize for the crappy video shooting, but this was a quick and easy test on doing a relative compression test with the e-scope and the Mitchell Protoman. All right, this is Edwin Hazard from Southeast Mobile Tech, Charleston, South Carolina. You guys stay safe out there, and we'll talk soon.